I was so sure that I will not crack prelims. Everybody started telling me, now you have accidentally cracked it. If you don't go and write your mains, that will be top level अहंकार. मैंने इंटरव्यू को इतना ज़्यादा ईगो से अप्रोच किया था. I realized कि the whole board is not impressed with me. The chair says छोड़ो, and I understood things have gone north. I was like, I am not ready for this. I don't want to go to Labas now. Hi Josh Talks. This is Gokul, an IAS officer of 2021 batch, and I belong to Tamil Nadu cadre. जब मुझे जॉश टॉक्स पे आने के लिए इनविटेशन मिला, आई वॉज टोल्ड दैट यू हैव टू स्पीक इन हिंदी. बेसिकली आई एम फ्रॉम केरला, त्रिवेंद्रम केरला, एंड मेरा काडर भी तमिलनाडु है. मुझे तो हिंदी पता है, लेकिन इतना अच्छा नहीं कि वो हिंदी एक्सेंट नहीं आता है. आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड, आई कैन कम्युनिकेट. लेकिन उसके बाद मैंने ये सोच रहा था कि ठीक है, what I am going to do is I am going to communicate. I am going to tell my story to the people. And I was thinking, people, you know what they do? People don't even know each other's language. People from China communicate with Spanish people. Sometimes when you are about to tell a story, आपका कहानी जब आप बताने के लिए सोच रहे हो, तो what is essential is that way of communication. You know, even without language, that gets communicated. When I am here before you to tell my story, मुझे ये लग रहा है कि आप और मेरे बीच there are a lot of things that are common. And the first thing is, of course, the UPSC exam. आप भी सोच रहे होंगे UPSC exam क्रैक करना तो इतना मुश्किल काम है. और if you're looking at me, there is more of a challenge. So I would like to tell you my story. मेरा कहानी सुन लेते हैं, how I cracked this exam, so that it becomes, you know, a kind of pointer for you guys also to go ahead maybe. Like I told, I belong to Trivandrum, Kerala. मैं एक proper middle class family से आता हूँ. My father is an ex-army man, mother is a teacher there, so proper middle class family. और जब उन लोगों को एक visually impaired बच्चा हो गया था, I think the best thing that they did is they didn't go into depression. That is what usually happens to every parent. लेकिन उन लोगों ने क्या किया? They started digging around to make sure that every facility for a visually impaired kid is available to their son. So what happened is, जब time आ गया था school, when the school admission time came, another best thing that they did is they put me in with the regular kids, with the normal kids. They didn't put me in a special school. When they did that, बहुत कुछ सुना उन लोगों ने. People were saying don't do this, but उस सब comments के बावजूद they put me in a normal school. And you know, I'll tell you something. You may not believe this now, but after up to 7th standard, I did my education in a state syllabus school. There they have a state syllabus in Kerala, so I did my education there. उसके बाद जब हमने सोचा कि अब CBSE में करना है, we went to some 15-20 schools and no school was ready to take me in. ठीक है? Today when I am in this podium after getting the service, nobody would even believe this maybe, but this is what happened. And this is not because I couldn't prove to those people academically I was good, and many of them knew me also. In spite of all that, उस सब के बावजूद they were not ready to take me in class 8. And then finally one school took me. I am saying this because, see, about 90-95% of the people who are preparing for UPSC will have some kind of challenge. It is not about whether you have challenges or whether you don't have challenges. It is rather about how you deal with that challenges. अब तक मैंने मेरे पेरेंट्स जिन जिन challenges को face किया उसके बारे में बता रहा था, लेकिन from my position, I also had my own challenges, but mostly ऐसा था कि लर्निंग एजुकेशन एकेडमिक्स में चैलेंजेस नहीं था, अकोमोडेशन में प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं यूजुअली. माय फ्रेंड्स यूज्ड टू अकोमोडेट मी वेरी वेल, दे हैड नो प्रॉब्लम्स, बट अथॉरिटीज को इतना ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स था कि आई टोल्ड नो, व्हेन आई वांटेड टू शिफ्ट टू अ न्यू स्कूल आई हैड टू गो टू 10-15 स्कूल्स. इतना चैलेंजिंग था. दे हैड इश्यूज विथ रूल्स, लॉज, सब कुछ. और क्लास में एक विजुअली इंपेयर्ड स्टूडेंट को क्या स्पेशलाइज्ड टीचिंग देना है. लेकिन यूजुअली व्हाट हैपेंस इज दे डोंट नीड टू गिव मी एनी स्पेशलाइज्ड टीचिंग, just the normal thing. So in my 8th standard finally I got into UPSC. उसके बाद 10th I topped 10th in my school. लेकिन at that point of time I had this dream कि I want to do my 11th and 12th in biology science. उस समय पे क्या हाल था कि no visually impaired people were accommodated in science because obviously they were saying they could not do practical blah blah blah. लेकिन मेरा एक ड्रीम था. So again, everybody was telling my parents ki don't do this. You are taking a big risk. Put the kid in arts. I'm not saying arts is worse than science, nothing like that. It was just my dream. So my parents also, they were also feeling ki should we take this risk? And they almost took admission in art stream. मैंने क्या किया? I undertook a fast. ठीक है? I thought okay, freedom struggle पे क्या किया था? Those people were fasting. So I thought I'll fast. उसके बाद finally they decided okay, then all my teachers were saying okay, Gokul has the potential to score 90, but with this visual impairment he will score only 60-65%. But I said no, whether I score 60-65 or 70-75, I want to do my education in biology science. So I said okay, I take this as a challenge. And my parents gave me full support, and we went to finally we got admission, because then you have certificate, right? They will have to give you admission. They don't have a choice. And so I got into that school, and I also had a bit of ego. अहंकार था कि 10th में top score था, top mark था school पे. So I was laid back. And when the first exam came, what happened? That guy who scored top marks in 10th, that guy approached failure in almost all subjects. Physics, maths, everything I was scoring borderline. So it was a huge shock. Now the predictions of all those teachers were coming true. Ki as a visually impaired person, Gokul cannot do that. And that impacted me hugely. This was my challenge. This was my choice. ठीक है? So I decided, I took the challenge. Now I have to prove to everyone that this was the right challenge to take. So again, my parents were a huge help throughout my class 11th and 12th. उस class के last position से I started improving slowly. By the time my final 12th board exam came, I was quite confident, and that first experience proved to me that you have to put in that effort. और जब मैंने वो effort दिया, finally when the class 12th board exam results came, I got into 95%, and I was top in physics, within top 50. I got मुझे merit certificate भी मिला. Then HRD minister was Honorable Smriti Irani ji. I got a merit certificate from her also. I got very satisfying result. और ये prove भी कर लिया कि visually impaired होने के बावजूद you can learn bioscience. It is no challenge if you put the right effort. If you have the right kind of support, you can do it also. Now, if I come to my college, 12 के बाद क्या हो गया था? Journey had become a little bit easy, because you have number one, of course, you have the academic qualification which you can show anywhere. लेकिन there also one challenge came up कि after 12th I wanted to continue in physics. I had fallen so much in love with physics. Okay. I also got into cutoff percentiles of some of the top institutions of the country, IISER जैसे. लेकिन उन लोगों ने क्या कह रहे थे कि you have the academic qualification, we have no choice, we have to accommodate you, but we give you no assurance that you will be comfortable. We give you no assurance that we can do your practicals properly. By that time, I had become, those 2 years, I was in stress every day. More importantly, my parents were in stress every day. I didn't want to give that kind of stress to, they were already aging prematurely. Okay? I didn't want to give that kind of stress to them again. So, my second love was always literature. So I chose English literature. I was enjoying my college. I was working with civil society. At this point, UPSC preparation मेरे दिमाग में it was बिल्कुल it was not there because you know honestly speaking at that point I was so much into civil society. I literally hated civil servants. ठीक है because these were the guys who were blocking us for everything. हम इतना views देते थे, हम इतना ideas देते थे, लेकिन they never took it forward. They were slow moving. We were playing T20 match and they were playing test match. ठीक है? So that was the situation. I was not at all looking at UPSC. In fact, I was looking at a research career. मैंने सोच रहा था कि I'll complete PG. उसके बाद I'll do my PhD. Maybe I'll do my postdoc. I'll do maybe some international scholarships. I'll get into teaching. ऐसे सोच रहा. I had cleared my NET and JRF also in 2017. जब मेरा फर्स्ट सेम चल रहा था यूजी पीजी का, I had already cleared my JRF. तो I had to get into a research program within 2 years because otherwise the validity would be lost. लेकिन at that point of time what happened was in 2018 आप लोगों ने न्यूज़ चैनल्स में देखा होगा शायद बिकॉज स्पेशली दोज हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग देन, इतना बढ़िया फ्लड्स था वो केरला के फ्यूचर को ही चेंज कर दिया एकदम. इट वाज सच अ हिस्टोरिक इवेंट because 500 people died and we never had any such experience before. ठीक है, उस टाइम पे all the district केरला में 14 districts है, all 13 districts got submerged. Only my place Trivandrum was not affected that much, or all Trivandrum people were volunteering. There was no age bar. Even very old people, even my parents generation, सब लोग volunteering कर रहे थे. लेकिन उस समय में although I was working in civil society, क्या हो गया था कि physically going and volunteering became a problem for me because of my visual impairment. और मैंने इतना I was very deeply depressed because I couldn't do anything. So depressed, so disturbed. और मैंने एक फ्रेंड से फ़ोन पे बात कर रहा था और मैंने बोला कि आई एम वेरी डिप्रेस्ड, आई एम फीलिंग सो बैड. और what this friend did is in 5-10 minutes he coordinated with a few people. He said कि you may not be able to go out right now but you can be part of all the coordinating activities. और 2-3 दिन में क्या हो गया, I was part of the core team that was coordinating all rescue operations. And I was working with many civil servants, many young civil servants, dynamic civil servants. और मुझे पता चला कि what kind of work they are doing. They are working day, night, every time. And ये भी पता चला कि कितना कर सकते हैं सिविल सर्विस पे, कितना opportunities है. What all you can do to the public as a civil servant, as an IAS officer. At that point of time, I was also feeling कि because I loved traveling, ठीक है, I loved traveling, I loved being always active, I loved interacting with public. ये भी शायद मेरे दिमाग में था कि an academic career is a little stale for me, little static for me. So I was thinking, why don't I give a try to UPSC? Also, at that point of time, there was one district collector of Trivandrum. Her name is Dr. K. Vasuki. Such a young, dynamic officer. बहुत कुछ कर रही थी वहाँ पे. We were associated with her as part of this flood volunteering also, otherwise also. So, my connection with her, my meetings with her also played this role. Ki she also told me couple of times, why don't you try this? I was also feeling ki I don't have the potential to go and try UPSC. So she couple of times she mentioned ki try sometime, try, give a shot at it. And I thought, ठीक है, I'll try. Whether I crack it or not, I'll try. And what used to happen was I already had kind of covered, not for UPSC purpose. Like I said, no, I was a debater. So debate, जब आप एक प्रोफेशनल डिबेटर हो, what used to happen is you have to be always updated in current affairs. I already used to read 2-3 newspapers. और मेरे एक मेंटर ने ये भी बताया कि यू गो एंड रीड एनसीईआरटी टेक्स्ट बुक्स, बिकॉज इतना लूसिड इंफॉर्मेशन आता है एनसीईआरटी टेक्स्ट बुक से. यू गेट अ गुड ओवरव्यू ऑफ हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिक्स, ये सब कुछ आपका डिबेट में काम आता है. So in 2014-15 itself, I had read NCERT textbooks. I had reread it again in 16-17 because I wanted to go deep into it. So basically, all my basic stuff for preparing for UPSC kind of was progressing. कहते हैं serendipity English पे. That is what happened to me because बिना सोच समझ के I was preparing for UPSC. So only other thing I had to deal with was my optional. तो मैंने सोचा व्हाट इज द ईजीएस्ट वे टू डू इट. आई वॉज ऑलरेडी डीलिंग विथ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, लेकिन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का सिलेबस इतना वास्ट है. इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी टू कवर इंग्लिश लिटरेचर इन शॉर्ट टाइम. सो आई थॉट ठीक है, मलयालम लिटरेचर, आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन मलयालम विच इज माई मदर टंग एनी वे. आई एम इंटरेस्टेड, लिटरेचर का बैकग्राउंड भी है, मलयालम हैज गुड कोचिंग इन माई प्लेस ऑल्सो. ठीक है, आई टेक दैट. सो probably the easiest thing to do, I took Malayalam literature. I went for classes, Malayalam literature classes along with my PG. और मेरे PG एग्जाम, फाइनल सेमेस्टर एग्जाम के बीच मेरा पहला प्रीलिम्स हो गया था. Like Friday I gave my semester exam, Saturday was a holiday, Sunday I gave my prelims, Monday I went back and gave my another end sem exam. So actually what I was feeling was, I was thinking this is a test dose. ठीक है, my character is such that unless you have I have a failure, I don't prepare properly. You might remember I said no, once I had a failure in class 11th, I started preparing properly. तो मैंने सोच रहा था कि इस prelims पे I will fail, then I will get the inspiration to prepare properly. तो I gave my prelims, सब कुछ छोड़ दिया उसके बाद, because I had to get to my PhD program. Otherwise, my scholarship would be lost. So I gave my, I prepared my synopsis. I gave my proposal presentation. I got into University of Hyderabad. The day I got into my University of Hyderabad PhD program, my prelims result also came. But I never checked. क्योंकि मेरे को इतना, I was so sure that I will not crack prelims. बिल्कुल I didn't check. And that day went like that. Second day also I didn't check. Third day, one of my friends called me and asked, bro, did you check the result? I told, क्यों? Why? Because I know anyway I won't crack. No need to check. He said, for my sake, you just check. And I said, brother, no need. There is no requirement. He said, just for me, please check. And finally, I didn't check. Okay, that was a holiday. I told my parents, I told these guys pushing me to check, you guys just check and make sure ki I am not there. So my father takes his mobile phone. He checks the list. It is like, you know, those people who check that when lottery result came, they check each number. So it's like this. He's confirming each number. So he is like totally amazed. He is like shocked. Then what he thinks, there is some mistake. So spectacles utar diya. He wiped the spectacles twice, put it again, checked again, no change. Then he calls my mother. She was in the kitchen. She comes and checks, no change. So the number is not changing. Then they call me and say ki, you have cracked prelims. And I literally fainted because I had no options now. I was not at all prepared for mains. ठीक है, I didn't even know how to write mains. अभी मेरे पास 64, only 64 days. Within these 64 days, I have to do everything. I didn't know what to do. I said, okay, I'll go back to University of Hyderabad. I'll skip this time. And everybody started telling me, you are talking about UPSC prelims. People prepare for 5-6 years to crack it. Now you have accidentally cracked it. If you don't go and write your mains, that will be top level ahankar. I said, "ठीक है चलो, I'll try my best." Then it was like playing a 10-over cricket match. From ball 1, you have to start hitting sixes. I mean, you have to do so much in just 64 दिनों में आपको इतना ज़्यादा करना है. And I did. I prepared like anything. I was mad. I was preparing like insane. And like I had not much of, I didn't take any test series, nothing. And in this 64 days preparation, I went and gave my mains. मैंने अभी मेंशन किया कि मैंने टेस्ट सीरीज नहीं ली, कुछ गाइडेंस नहीं था. तो how did I prepare? Thing is, of course, I had guidance in the sense that there were mentors helping me to do that. और मैंने ये भी किया कि I took answer sheets written by previous toppers. I looked at it. उन लोगों का शैली समझ करने की कोशिश की मैंने. और उसके अलावा I didn't do anything that usually people do. And I gave my mains papers without any proper strategy, any proper preparation. लेकिन what came to help is my previous experience again with debating, public speaking. Because debating में आपको क्या करना है? Sometimes you have to do impromptu debates, extempore. तो आपको 3-4 मिनट पहले सब्जेक्ट मिल जाता है और within that time you have to prepare, organize and then speak. और आपको आपका opponent, you have to listen to your opponent constantly and then you have to counter your opponent. ये सब बहुत कुछ काम आया because in mains also this is what you basically require. You get a question, 30 seconds पे आपको प्रिपेयर करना है, आपको ऑर्गेनाइज करना है और आपको आर्ग्यू करना है आपका पॉइंट. You have to substantiate it with examples. ये सब करना है. That again, my debating, my previous experience became so handy. So that is how I gave my mains. But again, I was not expecting to crack, but somehow I cracked. If you ask me how, I would say because universe kind of wanted me to. There is no other explanation because people do so much of work. I still cannot believe that with so little. I am not saying that I didn't do work. Of course I did work because within those 64 days, I worked like anything. I worked for 13-14 hours. I was literally insane. I was working on that. And of course, my previous experiences. Altogether combined, I had my mains. Then, interview was probably my chillest phase. Because, like I said, I am a debater. I am confident to speak before an audience. I have no issue speaking to a board. So, मैंने इंटरव्यू को इतना ज़्यादा ईगो से अप्रोच किया था. ठीक है. I thought I am a public speaker. I have no issues to come from interview. And all the mock interviews, they were feeding my ego. They were saying, it will be a cakewalk for you. You are doing so well. And then I came for my interview. And my first part of my interview, इतना बढ़िया था. I enter the board. The chairman asks me, you are from literature background. What is the most important part of literature? Is it prose, poetry? What is the most important part of literature according to you? I suddenly have this brainwave. I say कि sir, literature का most important part ये है कि humanity. Because literature always deals with human beings. And I know from his expression and the way he approached, he is totally impressed. I stepped up from confidence to overconfidence. Okay. So after the chair, second member, again it went well. Third member started asking me questions from literature, proper English literature. And I couldn't answer many of them. But I am very overconfident at this point. And she asks me, recite 8 lines from any poem that you know. At that point of time, I am not getting any consecutive 8 lines. मैंने बोला ma'am, I cannot remember any consecutive 8 lines. And she was like, you have studied 5 years of English literature, you say you are doing your PhD, आपको 8 lines भी याद नहीं आता. What has our population reached to? And I am in this very overconfident state. I am getting a little pumped up, and I say ki, ma'am, our current education system is not the one you were doing. अभी हमें by rote learning का जरूरत नहीं है. The moment the word left my mouth, I realized ki the whole board is not impressed with me. And she was again about to ask me, come back at me, but the chair says, chodo. And I understood things have gone north. But I got out of it, and I got good marks. I got 160-ish in that interview, but I was expecting 200-ish when I went. But in spite of all that, I cracked UPSC. First attempt, I cracked UPSC, but I got a lower rank. I got into a Group B service. So the exam results came, and I got into IDAS, Indian Defense Account Service, which was a good service. But problem ये था कि this was not what I was there for. ठीक है? There are different reasons why people want to be in UPSC. Usually what happens is हमारे बचपन में हम इतना ज़्यादा movies देखते हैं civil service IAS officers के बारे, and there is a sense of glamour that comes with it. There is this IAS officer, IPS officer who is in this officer. Politician comes and he says ki get out, and you get a kick out of that. But I was not thinking of IAS at that point, right? Like I told you, till my PG, I was not thinking of IAS. In fact, I used to hate this service. I used to hate this attitude ki हो जाएगा, हो रहा है, चलते हैं. That attitude I hated, and I thought everybody was like that. So this sense of glamour, this sense of that prestige, that social thing was never in my mind. In my mind, there were two things. Number one was that this service would give you so much of opportunity to work in the society. This service would give you so much of opportunity to solve things that you see around you. And the second thing is, like I said from the beginning, I always wanted to prove to those people who said ki this child will not succeed because of his visual impairment. ठीक है? I wanted to prove to them कि आपको visual impairment हो या आपको किसी भी other challenge हो, if you have the right kind of attitude, if you have the right kind of mindset, if you have the right kind of intentions, you will be where you want to be. So these were the two things that inspired me, and IDAS was not something that satisfied either of these instincts. So I joined the service, and this time I realized कि if you want to get to IAS, you have to give proper preparation. आपको एक strategy तो होना ही चाहिए. You cannot go like half-assed preparation से काम नहीं चलता. You have to have a proper strategy. You have to have a proper mentoring. You have to properly write answers. You have to prepare for your optional. सब कुछ you have to do. So along with my service, and COVID came to me as a blessing because lockdown tha. So I sat in my home also for a long while. That also, otherwise what would happen is I would go here, there, not prepare properly. So lockdown tha, I was sitting in my home. So I prepared properly. I gave test series, I gave prelims test series also properly, and then I gave my second attempt. I cleared prelims. Prelims came easily to me. I got very much more than was needed for the cutoff. I got my mains also. I gave a proper attempt. Interview में भी ऐसा था कि I had understood कि you cannot be overconfident. You cannot. Maybe you are a good public speaker, but these people who are in the interview board have like combined some 300 years experience more than you. You are a little kid before them. So you have to go approach it with that attitude. In the UPSC exam, the moment in your preparation, the moment ego strikes you, you are lost. You have to always remember this. And the ego can come in different ways. ठीक है? It is sometimes it is that कि I know everything. Other times it is that कि I will not take help from anybody else. There also you are lost. So I had kind of understood this thing. So I gave my attempt properly, and that time I got in good enough a position to get into IAS. So now that I have cracked this exam, एक बार नहीं 2 बार क्रैक किया है. अब क्या? What next? Because what happened to me was, okay, I have cleared this toughest exam in the country, one of the toughest exams in the world itself. And then suddenly, I was thinking like, what is the road ahead for me? Am I ready for this huge responsibility that I am going to take up? Because you get posted in some of the districts of the country, you are managing almost 1 crore of population, which is more than the population of many of the European countries. Then you are taking policy decisions which affect the whole of this country sometimes. Am I ready? Am I capable to do this kind of a responsibility? I kept thinking about this again. I started getting panic attacks. At a point I was in the verge of a nervous breakdown. ठीक है? I was like, I am not ready for this. I am not at all ready for this. I don't want to go to Labasna. I will go back to my research career. Because मुझे लग रहा था कि I prepared only for the exam. I never prepared for this job. So I said, I will either go back to my research career, or I will not take the technical resignation and I will go back to my earlier job. Then of course, I talked to people, I talked to counselors, I talked a lot with my parents. Finally, my parents told ki, you go to Labasna, you try if you can do this. If you feel ki at any point, if you feel ki you are not good enough for this, you come back, we'll do something. Even today, I keep this in mind. Any day, I feel like, okay, I am not being good enough for this service. I don't have the potential of, going ahead in this service. I don't have the potential of fulfilling the aspirations of, all these people whom I am working for. That day, I will have to rethink my ability to be in this service. That is the one thing with which I constantly work. Of course, till now it has been a very satisfying. I won't talk of. I don't think I need to talk of what lies ahead once you get into the service. But anyway, I want all of you to not just think about the exam itself, but also about what lies ahead, the job, not just the process, but your aim. Because at the end of the day, when I was in my district, I was training. My collector used to say this: if an IAS person cannot do something in this country, nobody else can do this. That is a kind of responsibility and that is a kind of potential that this service offers to you. The journey never gets over, because for me and for you, there are more challenges lying ahead. Every day, every moment is going to be challenging. But if you keep your head high and approach the challenge, you will leave a legacy behind. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for giving me your time in the midst of your preparation. I hope that the time spent has been well spent. You have got some kind of inspiration कि आप आपके dreams को pursue कर सकते हो. At the end of this video, there's a message from Josh Talks team which might help you to fulfill your dreams. Do watch it. Thank you.
हेलो एस्पिरेंट्स, हम में से बहुतों का सपना है आईएएस ऑफिसर बनना, लेकिन ये जर्नी बहुत महंगी है और इसीलिए बहुत एस्पिरेंट्स ने जोश टॉक्स से रिक्वेस्ट किया कि क्या जोश टॉक्स एस्पिरेंट्स को हेल्प कर सकते हैं फाइनेंशियली उनकी इस जर्नी में। तो इसलिए जोश टॉक्स ने कांटेक्ट किया इंग्लिश मीडियम के लिए केएसजी आईएएस के खान सर को और हिंदी मीडियम के लिए संस्कृति आईएएस को। शायद खान सर और KSG की इंट्रोडक्शन ही देने की जरूरत नहीं है। देश के सबसे जाने माने और रिस्पेक्टेड इंस्टीट्यूट्स में से है KSG। सृष्टि जैन देशमुख, शायद आपने नाम सुना हो, सर की ही स्टूडेंट रही हैं जिन्होंने 2018 में AIR 5 हासिल की। वहीं संस्कृति IAS के भी बहुत स्टूडेंट्स ने UPSC में टॉप रैंक्स प्राप्त की हैं। कुछ ही समय में उनके भी बहुत स्टूडेंट्स की टॉक्स रिलीज होने वाली हैं। तो जोश टॉक्स ने KSG IAS और संस्कृति IAS से बात की और उन्हें रिक्वेस्ट किया कि क्या वो जोश की फैमिली के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी स्कॉलरशिप दे सकते हैं। मुझे बहुत खुशी है हम सबके साथ ये बात शेयर करने की कि दोनों ही इंस्टीट्यूट्स मान गए। वो जोश की फैमिली के लिए अपने फाउंडेशन कोर्स पे स्कॉलरशिप प्रोवाइड करेंगे, यानी कि वो क्वालिटी की एजुकेशन जिसकी फीस लाखों में जाती थी अब हम अफोर्ड कर पाएंगे। ये हेल्प वैल्यूएबल है सबसे ज्यादा हम नए एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए, जिन्हें फाउंडेशन कोर्स करना तो है लेकिन लाखों की फीस हम अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। जोश फैमिली की ये स्कॉलरशिप पाने के लिए हम नीचे दिए गए गूगल फॉर्म को फिल कर सकते हैं। जब आपको कॉल आए तो प्लीज ये मेंशन करना मत भूलना कि आप जोश फैमिली के पार्ट हैं, ताकि आपको ये स्कॉलरशिप मिल पाए। जोश टॉक्स को बहुत गर्व है कि अब एस्पिरेंट्स को जोश सिर्फ कहानियों से नहीं बल्कि असलियत में फाइनेंशियली सपोर्ट कर पा रहा है। जोश टॉक्स का सपना कभी भी सिर्फ टॉक्स बनाना नहीं था। जोश का मानना है कि हम सब में एक काबिलियत है अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ बड़ा हासिल करने की, मगर जिंदगी की कुछ परिस्थितियां हमें अपने अंदर के टैलेंट को बाहर नहीं निकालने देती। लेकिन अब कम से कम हमारी फाइनेंशियल स्थिति हमें अपने IAS बनने के सपने से रोक नहीं सकती। जोश टॉक से एक बड़े भाई या बहन की तरह हर वक्त हम सबको जिंदगी में आगे लेके जाने के प्रयास में लगा रहेगा। आप बस जाके अपना 100% दीजिए, एक भी दिन जाया ना होने दें, बाकी जोश संभाल लेगा। जय हिंद।